Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for letting me be part of your day. I really appreciate it. And I've gotten quite a few subscribers. Even more, I know it's because of the Scientology thing. This is not about Scientology, but I will continue to talk about Scientology and the players in that game. More importantly, the children, I hope. And in a fight in getting the children out of Scientology. And closing down Scientology not because of the money, but because it's a human trafficking cult. More specifically, I'm concerned about the children in it, as you know. However, my channel focuses on injustices, I think. And of course, injustice is a matter of opinion, right? Sort of. So this is kind of like, well, it is a matter of opinion. For example, I'm on the fence about what Aaron is doing now as far as going to the Scientology places and getting in their face and talking to people. And I understand what the guy... You see, the guy in California, William Good, he is an activist. He was an activist before this. His son got murdered. And according to William, and I don't know of any of this to be untrue, his son was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't a druggie. He wasn't a gangbanger. He didn't cause problems. He was a good kid that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when he was doing his thing for his son, I guess something happened with Scientology, and they started yelling at him, telling him that the reason why his son is dead is because he was a lousy dad. So, again, much easier to go to anger than it is to go to hurt feelings and to deal with the loss. Because that is a horrible feeling. But to get yourself motivated by anger kind of gets you high. So what those idiots did in Scientology, if all of this is true, is they put themselves in the crosshairs of a very angry dad and they are now his target, because if the story's true, they should be. They shouldn't have involved themselves in his shit. If the story's true. Again, I'm only going by what I know of the story. So that I kind of get. And I don't see William yelling and screaming. I didn't see Aaron yelling and screaming either on the video. And this, I didn't watch the whole thing because it was boring. Like, a lot of it was boring because there wasn't much going on. So, and it seems like William Good is, and I don't mean to make fun of his name. I'm not making fun of his name. I just want to say it right. I feel like he has more of a playful approach. Like, yo, it's a cult. You don't want to go in there. You don't want to go in there, you know. He gets angry at the guy at the door, but I think it was the guy at the door that said those things about him. So his anger towards him. Because his anger towards the other woman, Twyla, is that her name? But his anger is here for the guy at that door. So, you know, that's got to be the guy that said the horrible thing. Which, you guys aren't going to say. You know, that's the guy who's going to bring you down. That's the guy who's going to bring down Scientology. I agree with that. He's going to get people. That's his life's mission now. Because it's less painful for him to do this than it is to deal with the loss of his son. And I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying that makes sense. I was in a situation where something happened to me, and it was an incredibly sad situation, and there was a lot to it. But some idiot just poked at me uncalled. It was uncalled for, and they put themselves in the crosshairs of my anger. So instead of me dealing with the most painful situation at the time, I went right to anger because it was easier for me to deal with it. Unfortunately, at some point, you have to deal with what's real. You know, anger shouldn't be the thing that motivates this guy. He's doing what he's doing, and again, I don't feel where he's harassing anybody except the guy, and I'm talking about William, streets of LA. I don't think that he's harassing anybody except the guy who I think was the one that said something about his parenting skills, which was totally uncalled for. Yeah, this really wasn't supposed to be about this. This is supposed to be about the West Memphis 3. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this out there because I've had people ask me, and if I've heard from Chris. I've not heard from Chris, but I haven't checked my email now that I think about it. And I think I asked you guys, and I asked Chris if he wanted to just tell me why, and he didn't have to. He doesn't owe me an answer. My beef with Chris Shelton, and it's not even a personal beef per se, but my thing is, if victims of a case said, yo man, please wait before you publish this, don't do that. And if you just say no for no reason other than to get the scoop, yeah, I don't think you're a good person. I don't care about him and Aaron's fight. I don't think it's fair if one person isn't friends with somebody else because they're friends with somebody else, especially when the platform is supposed to be about taking down Scientology, not each other. And listen, that's what's going on here. You know, there's so much, we've talked about it. There's so much, I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if it's about money. There's people making a lot of money on YouTube. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. But if you're not doing as well as somebody else and that's what's going on, then you need to maybe change your approach a little bit. That's what I would do. And listen, that's just common sense. I am not somebody who's great at YouTube. I'm just starting out here. You know, I haven't even decided if I want to stick with it. It is a lot of work. But if this is where your livelihood is and you're counting on that, then you have to be willing to pull yourself away and say, why is this person doing so much better than me? What are they doing that I'm not doing? What can I learn from them? Even if you don't like them, what can I learn from them? I told you guys a long time ago, there's two types of people in this world, I believe. There's people that we can learn from, and there's people who we can learn not to do things from. So people that we can learn how to do things from, and people we can learn not to do things from. And just because, I'll share an epiphany with you. So when I was working in the jail, I worked for this crazy Iranian. And it had nothing to do with the fact that he was Iranian, except he had a very thick Iranian accent. And, you know, I'm so grateful that I worked for him, and I appreciated him even before I left the jail, and he knew that because we ended up being friends. He was an older guy, older than me, and he taught me a lot. But he had a temper that he could turn on a dime, and he didn't know how to cope very well with it, so he often took things out on people. And I remember one day remember I told you about the elevator? We had to go, sometimes I'd go behind door 8 and I'd have to go down in the elevator because that's where most of our dry goods were down, and then we had some dry goods in the cell block, right? Remember I told you the story about the beef that was in the ceiling that was dripping down? If you haven't seen that, that's in my jails thing. My playlist that says jails, institutions, it's the jails one. It's a story about me working in the jail. Anyway, so I was going down in the elevator, And I was so angry at this guy. I mean, I was in my late 20s probably, maybe 30, I don't remember. And I was going down the elevator, and it was one of those elevators, those freight elevators that close this way. So you have to pull a string down, and the elevator goes like this to close. So I remember pulling the string down, and then you had to pull the gate down. And I walked over to the elevator button, and I said to myself, God, I know that there's a reason why you put people into my life for a reason. But for the love of God, I can't understand why you put this guy in my life. What can I possibly learn from him? And I heard a voice in me, seriously. And it said, and the voice said, I felt this voice, and the voice said, you think I only put people in your life for a reason for you? Maybe I put you in other people's lives for a reason. Did you ever think of that? I got off that elevator with a newfound meaning. I no joke, okay? I felt more responsible. Like, hey, you know, maybe this guy, his name was Sam. Maybe Sam, that wasn't his real name, but that was his American name. Maybe Sam is not in my life for me to learn from him, even though, you know, I learned a great deal from him. Maybe he was supposed to learn from me. You know, maybe he's supposed to learn from me. And that stuck with me, and my attitude changed. So all that in saying there are things that we learn to do from people, and there are things that we learn not to do from people. So I'm not too sure about going out and harassing Scientologists, but I think that stopping people from joining Scientology by yelling it's a cult, warning people like that, that makes the numbers plummet, right? And it's annoying as hell, right? But just yelling at Scientologists because they're Scientologists and they don't know any better, I don't think that's the way to do that. And there are channels that do that, and that's really, in my opinion, only reinforcing the Scientologists that are afraid to leave, or being told the world's dark out there and it's only us. That's what those people are showing them. I know that there's channels like that because I've seen that. I really haven't seen that from William's channel, The Streets of LA. And Aaron's channel, there just wasn't much going on when I was skimming through it. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I really want to work on the West Memphis 3. But, I'm sorry, a piece of candy and it had a piece of plastic on it. Yeah, that's about it. I only have one more night of being at work without really anything to do. Starting Friday night, it's back to business, and I'm back in my navy blue shirt. Anyway, this shirt is from that television show, Locked Up, which is that vis-a-vis show that I told you about as far as jail goes. Anyway, guys, I hope I didn't waste your time. I hope that at least the story that I shared with you about the jail was interesting, because, yeah. And just to answer some of your questions. And some of you guys have asked me about going live and stuff like that. I don't know how to do that. It's not that I'm nervous to do it. I don't know how to do it. And I really don't know what you guys would ask of me. But you can ask whatever you want in the comments, and I'll answer back and such. And that's about it. I do want to do the West Memphis 3 video. That's a boggle, man. That one's crazy. Alright, guys. So I'm going to get to that. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Thank you. And I hope I didn't bore you with this. Maybe it was a little entertaining. I don't know. Anyway, guys, have a good one. Be better today than you were yesterday, but not half as good as you're going to be tomorrow. Thanks, guys.